Okay, let's take a look at review of fractions here. So in grade 7, you learned how to add and subtract them, and then in grade 8, we learned how to multiply and divide them. So we're going to go through a tutorial here on how to do these. The biggest thing with adding and subtracting, these are the harder of the four to do. So adding and subtracting are trickier than multiplying and dividing. So if we're going to add these, and this is subtraction, okay, so we're going to do 2 of each. First thing you want to do is find a common denominator. So in other words, we need to find a denominator that is the same for both, okay? I showed you how to do this using the butterfly method, so let's quickly go through that. So you're going to draw some sweet wings around it, and then an awesome, whatever those are called, I don't teach science, and in the bottom here, it's other part, whatever. Then it's very simple. We multiply the corners, okay, and the bottom, and we're going to write those in their corresponding places. So 1 times 6 gives us 6, 3 times 1 gives us 3, and then the bottoms we get 18, okay? So now that we've done that, we've created a common denominator of 18, and then all we have to do is add the top of both, so 6 plus 3, that gives us 9 over 18, and if we reduce that to lowest terms, which we have to, we get 1/2, and we get that because I can divide the top and the bottom by 9. So our answer here is 1/2. So 1/3 plus 1/6 is 1/2. Taking a look over here with this subtraction, same idea. We're going to use the butterfly again to find a common denominator. And then we're going to multiply 3 times and write those numbers in the corresponding spots. So 3 times 8 is 24. 4 times 1 is 4. And the bottom we have 4 times 8, which is 32. So now our fraction, or the result of this is going to be 24 minus 4 over 32, which gives us 20 over 32. And when we put that in lowest terms, we're going to get 5/8, because I can divide both by 4. And there's our answer. Okay, now let's try the 2 at the bottom here. Okay, let's take a look at this. We've got adding and subtracting. Now these are mixed numbers, okay? So we've got a whole number here, and then a portion, a fraction, whole number, fraction. So 2 3/5 plus 1 1/10. So what we're going to do is, you're going to convert these to improper first, okay? So how do we do that? You multiply the big number here by the denominator. So 2 times 5 is 10, and then add 3. Okay, so 2 times 5 is 10, plus 3 is 13. And you just keep the denominator, so that one's going to be 13 over 5. Plus, again, we're going to go 1 times 10 is 10 plus 1. So 1 times 10 is 10, plus 1 is 11 over 10. Now that we have it set up like this, we're going to do the butterfly and write down those three numbers. So we're going to have 13 times 10 is 130, 5 times 11 is 55, and 5 times 10 is 50. Okay? So what we're going to get from this is 185 over 50, which reduces to, it goes in 3 times to get us to 150, with 35 left over out of 50. Okay, so I said, how many times does 50 go into 185? 3 times. Okay, that gets us to 150. And then if I need to get to 185, there was 35 left over. And we'll just finish this off putting it in lowest terms. So we're going to have 3 and 7 tenths, because I can divide the top here by 5 to get 7 and the bottom by 5 to get 10. So there's our answer for that one. The next one here is same idea. It's subtraction. So we're going to convert these to improper fractions. So 3 times 8 is 24, plus 3 is 27. So I'm going to have 27 over 8. And then 1 and 1/2 is the same as 3 over 2. Okay? Butterfly. Draw these awesome things and write out 3 numbers. So 27 times 2 is 54. 8 times 3 is 24. And the bottom, 8 times 2 is 16. So from here, we're going to get 54 minus 24 over 16. So we have 30 over 16. And if we reduce that to lowest terms, or in this case a mixed number, we're going to have 1 and 14 over 16. And we can go one step further, is 1 and 7/8. So there's the answer to that one, and here's the answer to that one. Okay, at the bottom here, we're going to learn how to, or review how to multiply, okay, and divide. We'll do multiplication first. Multiplication is the easiest, okay? It's the least amount of things you have to do. The good news is, for multiplying and dividing, we don't need a common denominator, okay? So you don't have to do this butterfly for multiplying and dividing. For multiplication, you simply multiply the top by the top and the bottom by the bottom, and then reduce to lowest terms. So 1 times 3 and 2 times 5. So we're going to get 3 tenths. And that's as low as it goes, so we're done. The next one over here, 3 times 5 and 4 times 6 gives us 15 over 24. And if we reduce that to lowest terms, divide both the top and bottom by 3, we get 5/8. So that's how we multiply fractions like that. If we have mixed numbers, which we do in these cases down here, you're going to do what we did up here and convert them to improper first. So here I'm going to have 1/2 times 5 over 2. Then we multiply the top by the top and the bottom by the bottom. Okay, so 1 times 5 is 5, 2 times 2 is 4, and then reduce it to lowest terms. 4 goes into 5 once with 1 left over, so the answer is 1 1/4. Okay, and over here, convert to improper. So this is going to be 6 over 5 times 3 over 2, top by top, bottom by bottom. 6 times 3 is 18. Bottom is 5 times 2 is 10. Lowest terms, it's going to go, let's see here, it goes in once with 8 left over, and that is 1 lowest terms and 4/5. Okay? So multiplication is the easiest. Okay, for division, there's one thing we got to do, all right? You leave the first fraction alone. You change it to multiplication, but then you use the reciprocal of the second fraction, okay? Reciprocal is the fancy word in math, meaning you just flip it, okay? So you reverse, you move the denominator to the top and the numerator to the bottom. So when we divide, and this is where kids mess up a lot, or they can't wrap their heads around it. When we divide fractions, we don't actually divide numbers, okay? You multiply by the reciprocal, okay, of the second fraction, and that is the division, okay? So I'm going to have 2/3, leave it alone. The first fraction, always leave it alone. Multiply by the reciprocal of the second fraction. Essentially, you flip it. And now we have multiplication, and this is the division process. So all I'm going to have is 8/3. And in lowest terms, it's going to be 2 2/3. And that is our answer. Okay? Next one here. Leave the first fraction alone. Multiply by the second one flipped. Top by top, bottom by bottom. 20/8, which is 2. And that gets us to 16, so there's 4 left over, which is 2 1/2. Okay? Same thing down here. Just be cautious. If we have a mixed number, change it to improper first. So this is going to give me 11/4. Multiply it by the reciprocal of the second fraction. Top by top, bottom by bottom. We get 33/8. And that is 4 1/8. Okay? And the last one here, the whole number 10 divided by 2 1/2. So what we're going to do is write 10 as a fraction, meaning we're going to give it a denominator, okay? Any whole number like this, you can give it a denominator by simply writing it over 1. There we go, because 10 divided by 1 is just 10. So any whole number, to make it a fraction, just write it over top of 1. There we go. Now we're going to convert 2 1/2 to an improper fraction. So we're going to have 10/1 divided by 5/2, okay? But now I'm going to leave the first fraction alone, multiply by the second one flipped, the reciprocal, and now I have multiplication, so I'm going to multiply the top by top, bottom by bottom. I get 20/5, which we know is 4. And that is how we divide fractions.